بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والعاقبة للمتقين، ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله إمام الموحدين صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد، فأحييكم بتحية الإسلام، بتحية من عند الله مباركة طيبة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I pray that Allah Jalla wa Ala accept our fasting and make us inhabitants of Al-Jannatul Firdaus. Last night we spoke about Al-Ghuslu, the ritual bath. And we said that there are certain things that if those things happen, it will become wajib upon a Muslim to wash the ritual bath or to take the ritual bath, which is normally known as al-janaba. Number one is what? I'm not talking about the toilet. What happens if something happens to you, you're supposed to take, it's wajib for you to wash janaba. If you have a wedding, but you have to be more specific here. If you have a wedding, and then when you wake up, you find your underwear is wet, or you have any traces of semen, then you have to wash janaba. But if you have a wedding and you don't see any sign of that, then it is not wajib upon you to wash janaba. So wedding is one. The next thing is what? The next. Al-Jima'. To have relation with your wife or your husband. Whether something happens or not, meaning whether something comes out of you or not, as long as both parts have touched each other, then al-ghuslu has become wajib. Number three is what? MashaAllah, when a woman finishes her menses or postnatal, then it is wajib upon her to wash janaba. The fourth thing is what? MashaAllah, may Allah bless you, Allah. That shows that you've been paying attention. When a disbeliever or a person embraces Islam, revert to Islam, according to some other school of thought, it is wajib upon that person to wash janaba. And finally, when you wash a dead body or a dead person, then it is wajib upon you to wash janaba. But this, the scholars, they differ on this mas'ala. Some of them said that it is not wajib for you to wash janaba after you've washed a dead person. So tonight, inshallah, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about, I'm afraid I'm not, okay. لا حول ولا قوة كتاب الموت. I should have prepared myself to come here. Or let me just use my. It's still the ghusl. Ghusl maut takib al-ashaf. It's the same. Okay. Okay. Yes, I've got it. Okay. There are certain times that it is recommended, and it is sunnah for you to wash the ghusl. What we just talked about is when it is wajib, it is obligatory upon you to wash the ghusl. There are certain times or certain things that will happen to you. It is highly recommended that you take the ritual bath, meaning you wash janaba. Janaba is when you have intercourse with someone, but al-ghusl is the ritual bath. We should be able to distinguish both. But I'm just going to use janaba because this is what many of us know. Number one, al-ightisalu inda kulli jima'. Whenever you have intercourse, you wash janaba. This is sunnah. Meaning, the hadith of Abi Rafi' أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان ذات ليلة يغتسل عند هذه وعند هذه قال فقلت يا رسول الله ألا تجعله واحدا قال هذا أزكى وأطيب وأطهر. MashaAllah, the Prophet was very strong. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. One night, he decided to have relation with all his wives. One night, he decided to do that. And when he finished with one, he washed janaba. When he go to the next one, he finished, he washed janaba. So this is sunnah. If you have two wives and you want to see them the same day, then when you finish with one, you have to wash janaba. Then you do the next one, you have to wash janaba. This is sunnah, but one janaba will suffice you. One janaba will suffice you at the end. You will see one. Of course, you clean yourself. You see the next one, then you wash janaba. That will suffice you. But to do it after one, and then the other you do it, that is sunnah. So, this Sahabi, he said that I said to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, why didn't you take one bath? One bath wouldn't have been sufficient. And he said that this is purer, better and cleaner. MashaAllah. It's better, it's purer and cleaner. So when you finish with the first wife, you clean yourself properly. And this is even what? Yeah, it's quite obvious, you know. So this shows how beautiful the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is. The second time is al-ghuslu lil-jumu'ati, to wash for Jumu'ah. Salatul Jumu'ah, to wash for Salatul Jumu'ah, to do ghusl is not wajib, it is sunnah. It is sunnah to wash before you go and pray the Jumu'ah. Because the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِذَا جَاءَ أَحَدَكُمُ الْجُمَعَةَ فَلْيَغْتَسِلْ. If any of you want to come to the Jumu'ah prayer, should take a ritual bath. The reason is, you are going to congregate. You don't want to go there with a very bad smell. So it is encouraged, highly recommended that we wash for Salatul Jumu'ah. The third is al-ightisalu lil-eidain, to take a bath for the two Eids, Eidul Adha and Eidul Fitr. When you want to go and pray your Eid prayer, it is sunnah for you to take a ritual bath. It's a sunnah for you to take a ritual bath. Number 4, al-iqtisalu inda al-ihram bil-umrati wal-hajj. Before you put your ihram for Hajj and Umrah, it is sunnah for you to take a bath. You take a bath and then you put your ihram, you make your intention, then you go for Umrah or Hajj. Naam. Adhan? It's so quick. Allah. I'm starting late. I'm supposed to start at least 7 o'clock.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الاغتسال عند الإحرام بالعمرة والحج، فإنه صلى الله عليه وسلم اغتسل لإحرامه. So to wash the ritual bath before you put your ihram for Umrah and Hajj, it is sunnah, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did that. Number 5, al-ghuslu min ghasl al-mayyit. You see what we just said? Because I'm reading 2 books. I'm reading Kitab Fiqh al-Muyassar fi Daw' al-Kitab wa Sunnah. And I'm reading another book called Tafsir Fiqh al-Ibadat. You see? So it says here, al-ghuslu min ghasl al-mayyit, to wash after you have washed a dead person, is also a sunnah. Because the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Man ghassala mayyitan falyaghtasil. Whosoever wash a dead person should wash. So even though it is a command, al-amru yufidul wujub, but there will be a qarina allati tusrifuhu min al-wujubi ila al-sunnah. Not everything that Allah said do in the Quran, of course, the qaida is al-amru yufidul wujub. Command, command yufidu, how to translate? No, command means obligation. Let me make it that way. Warning means forbidden. But when Allah says don't do this, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam don't do this, or do, okay, let's say no, Allah said do this, and the Prophet said do this, it couldn't mean that it is wajib upon you to do that. It might be a sunnah, because he will check if other texts or any other hadith change what is obligatory to what is sunnah. So in this case, even though the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam command the person that wash a dead person to wash the ritual bath, it doesn't mean that it is obligatory. Just like the salah, the prayer, the the Jum'ah prayer. What did Allah say? يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله وذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. When you finish, go to the land and seek your provision. وابتغوا من فضل الله. Go and seek Allah's bounty. It doesn't mean that if I finish praying, I should go to work. If I decided to go home and rest, there is no problem in that. So we should know this. Not everything that the Prophet said do, it is obligatory. It can be sunnah, it can be mustahab. Okay, now let's talk about the things that somebody that has janaba doesn't supposed to do. It is haram upon somebody that has janaba and you haven't washed janaba, you are impure. You don't wash janaba, there are certain things that you don't supposed to do. Number one, لا يجوز له المكث في المسجد إلا آبر سبيل لقوله تعالى ولا جنبا إلا آبر سبيل حتى تغتسلوا. When you have janaba, you haven't washed, you don't supposed to stay in the masjid. You don't supposed to stay in the masjid. Except if the masjid is your way for you to pass through and go to somewhere else. Because Allah Jalla wa Ala says, Wala junuban. And it is not for the person that has janaba to stay in the masjid illa abiri sabilin hatta tagtasilu. Except the person that is passing by until you wash the ritual bath. لثبوت إذا, and he says here فإذا توضأ جاز له المكث في المسجد. But they said here, if the person take wudu, it is allowed for him to stay in the masjid. Is this clear? Somebody that has janaba, you haven't washed, you're not allowed to stay in the masjid, except if the masjid is your way to pass through to go somewhere else. But if you take wudu, you are allowed to stay in the masjid. Is that clear? And it is even sunnah. If you have relation with your wife, before you sleep, you take wudu. Before you eat, you take wudu. It's a sunnah for you to do that. It says here, لثبوت ذلك عن جماعة من الصحابة على عهد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ولأن الوضوء يخفف الحدث والوضوء أحد الطهورين. And he said that this is affirmed that many or jama'atan group of the Sahabas, they used to do that during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because the wudu will yukhaffifu al-hadas, it will lessen the impurity. And wudu is one of the things that you use to clean yourself. So therefore, it is allowed if you have janaba to take wudu and you can stay in the masjid. Number two, la yajuzu lahu massul mushaf. You're not allowed when you are in that state to touch the mushaf. You're not allowed to touch it at all. Because Allah says, la yamassuhu illa al-mutahharun. Except that nobody is supposed to touch the Quran except those that are clean. So somebody that is impure, somebody that has janaba is not allowed to touch the mushaf. You're not allowed to touch the mushaf. And the Prophet said, La yamassul mushafa illa tahir. Except the only person that's supposed to touch the mushaf is somebody that is clean. Nobody touch the mushaf except the one that is clean. La yajuzu lahu qira'atul Qur'an. If you are in that state, you're not allowed to read the Quran. You're not allowed to touch it. You're not allowed to read it off head. You're not allowed at all to do that. You don't allow, I don't know about your mind, but you don't have to read the Quran. When they say read, it's not in your mind. recite it, whether it's out of your memory or you are holding the Quran, you're not allowed at all. If you say Bismillah, your intention is not the Quran, then that is allowed. That is allowed. ولا يقرأ فلا يقرأ الجنوب شيئا من القرآن حتى يغتسل. Somebody that has janaba should not read anything and from the Quran except after he has washed the ritual bath. لحديث علي رضي الله عنه قال كان عليه الصلاة والسلام لا يمنعه من قراءة القرآن شيء إلا الجنابة. Ali radiallahu anhu reported that the Prophet there was nothing that will prevent him from reciting the Quran except janaba. So therefore, it is not allowed for us to read the Quran while we are in that state. And it's haram upon the person to pray. It is haram also to do tawaf, bil bayt. You're not going to have janaba, you don't wash and you pray. It is haram for you to do that. And it is also haram for you to do tawaf. Why is it haram? Is it only tawaf? Why? Tawaf is like prayer, but you're allowed to talk. You're allowed to talk. Yeah. Allah Jalla wa Ala will not hold that non-Muslim because it's translated Quran anyway. Allah Jalla wa Ala wa alaykum salam will not hold you responsible because you're giving somebody that is a non-Muslim. You're not going to tell him, brother, I want to give you the mushaf, but you have to wash. Can you say that? Brother, I'm giving you the mushaf, but please, you have to wash. The only thing, advise him, please don't take it to the toilet. Yeah, you can advise him. Take this Quran, it's the book of Allah, but please, brother, don't take it into the toilet. But you're not going to tell him to wash before, yeah. Yeah, it's the meaning also, yeah. Okay, time. Okay. So let's conclude here. What did we learn tonight? We learned that it is sunnah for you to wash for the Jum'ah. It is also sunnah for you to wash for the 2 Eidain. And it is sunnah for you to wash after you have washed a dead person. And then we mentioned 2 things that somebody that has janaba should not do. Number 1 is what? To recite the Quran. Number 2 is to touch the Quran, isn't it? Then tomorrow, inshallah, we're going to continue, biiznillah, but we're going to start very early tomorrow, maybe 7:05, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.